Hello there. This is James, and you're watching OneRoyal, and it's live. In today's program, I want to talk about the dreaded word slowly being whispered on the street. Plus, Trump, I say that again, Trump realizes who voted for him and better give them back the things they like, and how the market is still struggling and how the euro is having a good time in the sun. But before we get into all of that, don't forget these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research, do your own due diligence, and of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. With that out of the way, let's get started. So, yes, bit by bit, one of the scariest words in economics is being whispered. One of the scariest words. Wall Street Journal is talking about it. Bloomberg is talking about it. CNBC is talking about it. And what's this word? The word being whispered on the street is stagflation. Now, those who are new to trading or new to the markets in general, just a quick rundown. Stagflation is when the economy is slowing and inflation is rising. Now, the reason why it's so scary is because when you are experiencing stagflation, the central banks have very little tools to fight it. I mean, they literally are stuck between a rock and a hard place with stagflation. A rock and a hard place. Because they can, I'll bring my little picture up. They can't raise rates to fight inflation, and they can't lower rates to inject life into the economy. So they're literally stuck. They can't fight. They can't really do. Now, here's the scary thing about stagflation at the moment, or the concerns of stagflation at the moment, is because inflation is slowly creeping up. It's slowly creeping up. Because, we saw the last inflation reading, expectation was for it to come in at 2.8. It came in at 3%. In fact, the last sort of 5 readings is slowly, this is talking about the United States here, and slowly and surely begins to creep up, and it's beginning to creep up. This is why the Fed, for example, they have big concerns about this. At the end of 2024, the market was hoping that the Fed would be, cutting rates maybe 4 times this year, but now the market's thinking they'd be lucky to maybe get 2 rate cuts, because obviously the Fed is concerned about inflation slowly rising. They're also really concerned about, the economy slowing down, because don't forget, we had, excuse me, we had the Fed, the Fed of Arizona, I think it was. They predicted negative, say, 2.8 growth in the United States in Q1. So already there's that concern. So again, we have rising, it's not skyrocketing. It's only 3%, so it's not like go and hide in a bunker. But inflation is slowly going up, and the economy is slowing down slightly. So this is what's really worrying. And I think in many ways, I've said this in other videos as well. And here's the other worrying side: if inflation is rising, then tariffs are no way going to help matters. And in fact, tariffs is just going to be basically putting petrol on the fire. So it's going to make it even worse. So that's the general consensus. And I think The other thing I want to mention on this is that though I think we've been obsessed with tariffs, and I've said this on other videos, I do think there's an underlying factor, which may be this sort of thing, potential recession, economic slowdown is more scary than tariffs. So that's something. I mean, tariffs are definitely not going to help. But we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But that, I think, is another underlining point. Moving on to tariffs, as I talk about it all the time. Trump has realized who voted for him, obviously. His demographics, who vote for him. And as well as that, the CEOs of GM and Ford has put pressure on Trump, underlining the fact that these tariffs are going to really hurt the US automobile industry. So with that in mind, and don't forget, like I say, the majority of people who voted in, they probably drive pickup trucks. So with that in mind, he has put tariffs on North American automobiles delayed for a month. Okay, so he's delayed it for a month because of this. And don't forget, he was really aggressive in Congress just the day before. He gets a couple of phone calls from CEOs of major car makers in the US, and he delays a little bit. He delays it. And as well as that, he's getting other calls as well about these tariffs. And he's getting calls from the agricultural industry in the US. Okay, because again, they're saying these tariffs are really going to hurt us. So now he's looking at exemptions for farm products. Because I think it's something might have dawned on him slightly, because they buy a lot of fertilizer in the US. A lot of it brings it in. 80% of this sort of specialized fertilizer comes from Canada. So again, he's now looking at exceptions for this. So in my mind's eye, again, and I think the market sort of thinks maybe a little bit about that. That's why I think maybe stagflation and recession worries is more concerning. Is that, yes, these tariffs are going to hurt everybody, but he seems to be, when certain people point this out directly to him, then he does sort of change direction. And we talked about the S&P, again, at a certain level. So thing with these tariffs is a question: will he or won't he? Are they for real, or will he back down, or whatever? I mean, and then, like I say, this trade war, which really started to really take shape on Tuesday, is a real thing. So this is something good to bear in mind. But despite this sort of like questioning, these exceptions on the car industry and with farming, the US is still going through it. They're still an absolute bloodbath. In fact, we're going to have a quick look at it now as we talk. Let's have a quick look at the market now. This is the S&P. It's on a 30-minute. And as you can see, again, it opened with a gap. Okay. The NASDAQ, again, opened with a gap. So still very, very negative. I mean, it's down. It's down today, negative 1.06%. S&P 500 is down just below 1%. Okay, but if we want to look at the daily, this is where it's quite interesting. It's something really worth watching. It's approaching that 200-day moving average, which is a really interesting level, which is what, 5,710 points. Really interesting level. And the other reason why it's so interesting, because that was the low. It was the day that Trump won the election. Since then, it's had a little bit of a Trump pump, so to speak, So it's interesting to see, A, for one, because it really is a potential key area of interest, moving average, and B, whether or not Trump can handle it dropping down past the price it was at the day he was elected, because he's one big ego. Let's have a look at some other things. Tesla, again, remains under pressure. Meta, again, remains under pressure. Microsoft is had a couple of trading sessions. It's managed to make 3 days of gains so far. Amazon, pretty much the same. Alphabet, again, 3 days of gains as well. Nvidia, okay, open with a gap, but it's again still under pressure, especially this chat about another Chinese AI firm now who's saying they can produce a cheaper version of some of the technology that Nvidia is boasting about. So, I mean, it's not quite like a DeepSeek thing. It hasn't gotten to the market and spooked the market as much, but still, that's something to be aware of. Anyway, in other news, I want to talk about ECB. ECB has cut rates again to 2.5%, pretty much as anticipated, as expected. The market did sort of expect them to do that. In their statement, they said interest cuts are making new borrowing less expensive for firms and households, and loan growth is picking up. Now, like I say, though, they did talk in the press conference. Christine Lagarde did say that tariffs is not a good thing, not a great thing at all. Nobody wins out of tariffs. So that, of course, did come up. And to be fair, the ECB is now unlikely to cut rates next month. So I don't think we're going to be seeing them aggressively cutting rates continuously. We maybe get another 2 rate cuts this year, depending on the situation. And the reason why we're not going to see it as soon as next month is because, like I say, they're confident they're going to reach their 2% target in inflation. And to be fair, the last inflation reading they had was 2.4%. So you understand where they potentially are on target with that. And not just because of this, but mainly because of what happened with Germany. We talked about that in the video yesterday. The euro is still enjoying its ride higher. And we're going to have a quick look at the euro in a minute. So, yeah, it's still riding high, still trading around a 3-month high. Okay. Despite the rate cut, usually you cut rates, it can weaken a currency. But no, it's all about growth with the euro at the moment, especially with Germany spending on defense and infrastructure and the EU spending more. It's all about growth, which is boosting the single currency, or one of the reasons the single currency is being boosted. The other reason, of course, is a weaker dollar. But let's have a quick look at the euro, and let's have a quick look at it. Like I say, we're still trading now. We're trading at 1.08280. So that's, like I say, what was the last time we were around this level was 7th of November. So 2 days after Trump's election win. I mean, obviously, look at that. We've had the Trump, the US market went up on a Trump pump. Obviously, the currency market went on a Trump dump. And obviously, it came under a lot of pressure. But for now, like I say, it's trading around levels we haven't seen since the 7th of November. Again, like I say, boosted by Germany's announcements yesterday, boosted by the EU announcements for more spending, boosting by, obviously, the reasonable economic outlook, the ECB said, and obviously the fact that they're trying to push growth, and being boosted, obviously, because we have a weak greenback. And we can also see that again, of course, with the great British pound, because again, the cable is currently trading around 128.83. Again, level not seen since, when was it? Again, near the tail end of November 11th. So yeah, so we are seeing a weaker dollar. If I have a quick look at the dollar yen, see how that's getting on. If I can find it. Oh no, we'll have a quick look at the loonie. Okay. Obviously, we're seeing loonie strength against the dollar as well. So the CAD is stronger against dollar. So yeah, the dollar is weak in general. In fact, beginning of the European session, the dollar index was trading at a 4-month low. We all know what the dollar index is. It's obviously measures the dollar strength against a basket of 6 major currencies. So yeah, of course, we wouldn't be a broadcast if I didn't have a quick look at my favorite yellow metal, obviously, which is gold. Okay, slightly down for the day, but it's balanced again because it's still obviously the safe haven element. Currently trading around $2,911.95. Now, of course, we had the ADP yesterday, which came in a lot lower than anticipated. Now, all eyes are on the big news tomorrow, and hopefully we can talk about this more than we can talk about tariffs tomorrow. And that, of course, is the non-farm payroll. Expectation is the number to come around 158,000. Previous reading was 143. Now, because I think, the NFP used to be such a massive event, used to, really drive the market. Very, very exciting. It's since then, not still a big event. Okay, still a big event, but it's not as big as it used to be, or not sort of volatile as it used to be. Still, I think tomorrow's reading is going to be really interesting, especially with the ADP. Not if I see the two connected. I don't see the NFP and ADP connected like many people do. But I think with the current economic concerns like stagflation, I talked about at the beginning of this video, and little bits of signs of economic slowdown, I do think this is going to be a really key event. And the reason for that is because I'm going to do a OneRoyal live special, which is going to be a watch along of the non-farm payroll. Now, this starts tomorrow at 1:15 p.m. GMT on YouTube. Okay, it will be on Twitter as well, but YouTube, you can come and talk to me. I will go on 15 minutes before the announcement. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss a couple of bits and pieces, maybe discuss a few potential scenarios. And then, more importantly, we get to watch it live together and see where the market goes. So come and join me for that. Don't forget, 1:15 p.m. GMT, watch along of the non-farm payroll. Don't forget, this is indeed a live show, so you can come and talk to me, especially if you're on YouTube. Watch me on YouTube. You can chat to me anytime you'd like, ask me questions. Or what I really like is when you share with me your opinion. Let me know what you think. What you think is, in your opinion, is going to be driving the market. Or what do you think about the euro? What do you think about tariffs? What do you think about stagflation? Let me know. And even like I say, if you're not watching me live, you're watching a recording, you're going back and watching the recorded episode, leave a comment in the comment section. I will see them and I will reply to them next time I'll go live on air. So please feel free to come and chat with me. Anyway, if you're watching me on YouTube and you like this sort of thing, by all means, subscribe if you like. If, hit the notification button so you know next time I'm going live. If you like this type of content, by all means, give me one of these. It's nice to know that you like what I do. If you're watching me on Twitter, give me a heart, isn't it? If you like, what I do, it'd be nice to know. Anyway, till next time, don't forget, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research, do your own due diligence, and of course, with the risks at hand before entering any trade. Till next time, every single one of you, trade safe.